In 1799, when Napoleon conquered the Middle East, Egypt, a soldier for Napoleon army found the Rosetta Stone, and that was the key to decipher the problematic language what they had in ancient Egypt, the hieroglyphics. And the hieroglyphics was written on the walls, and the history from the beginning of the culture till that ancient history of Egypt came to an end. And when they deciphered the hieroglyphics, they didn't find anything mentioned about the Jews. They speak and decipher the language and the happenings, what happened with Ramses I and Ramses II, and the Jews were enslaved under that rule of Ramses I and Ramses II. It's not mentioned nothing about Yaakov, that he came down to Mitzrayim and spoke to Paro, nothing about the hunger of 7 fat years and 7 skinny years, about Joseph, that he writes, Rak akise egdel mimeko, nothing about the slavery of 210 years that the Jews were enslaved, Avodas Perach, and the Jews in Avodas Perach was enslaved, and there were no Shisha Bekeres Echod, like the Chazal say. And when the Jews went out of Mitzrayim, they went out about 4 million Jews. So in 210 years, which every 20, 30 years, a generation ended, and they didn't live too long in those times. They lived 30, 35 years. So most probably, some 25 million Jews in the duration of 210 years worked avodas perach, hard slavery. And nothing has been even mentioned about Jews. In the Torah it's written that Paro said to Moshe, Ani arosho v'ashevu atzadik. That's baloney, they don't even mention anything. He said it to Moshe. But in factual writing to be remembered as history, and it was written on the hieroglyphics, nothing is mentioned anything about the Jews being in Mitzrayim, nothing about the Asor HaMakkos, not about the Makkos Pchoires, which millions of people died in 1 second. Millions. Nothing about Yetzias Mitzrayim, nothing about Kriyas Yamsu, when the Mitzrayim ran after the Jews, nothing. It comes to tell you that being that they were indulged in Avodah Zorah, in idol worshipping, and if they would have mentioned anything about Jews, that means by mention the word Jew, it would mean that I admit that there's God on this world. There's the abstract of a supervision of God. By not mentioning anything about Judaism, nothing mentioned about Jews that they lived in Mitzrayim, they eliminated that they don't want to even remember. They don't want to even mention. They don't want to even know that it existed, Jews. And it comes to teach you a lesson that when a person speaks Lashon Hara, you're encouraging that person and supporting him. Because when you mention on your lips someone, and no matter if it's positive or negative, that negative force goes into that person and gives them the support of continuing further in life. By not mentioning anything, that you don't even mention the person, you weaken the person that he doesn't even exist if you don't think of him. And that's the limud. And that's what we have to learn from the hieroglyphics. that from the Mitzrim, by not mentioning the word Jew, that weakened the support that the Jews existed in Mitzrayim. And it comes to teach you that there's many millions of people all around the world that don't want to even mention the word Holocaust, that 6 million Jews were killed. By not wanting to even mention, they're weakening the thought that such a thing ever happened. So by not mention, you're weakening the actual fact that a thing existed.